My name is Liz Partsch.
And I am Paul Rowley.
And welcome to Farm and Dairy's Weekly Rundown.
We will be giving you, once again, another rundown of the week's top stories.
Yes.
You know we like to have fun here.
Yes, we do.
So, welcome back.
Yeah. So, and we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be, our editor, Rachel, suggested that, instead of doing all of a bunch of stories that we have in the paper, we're just going to be highlighting, one or two, maybe three of the top stories, trying to get a little deeper dive into them. Instead of giving you maybe a little brief highlight, we're just going to be giving you the full story here on the podcast. So, yeah, I guess that's going to be the format for however long, I guess.
Lock in.
So lock in.
Yeah.
Because we're locking in.
Get ready to learn.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to kick us off, Paul.
Please. Yeah.
If you don't mind. So I wrote a story about Ohio's rural broadband expansion efforts that graces the front of our cover this week. Yes. And as many of our readers may know, slow internet is a common problem in rural communities and across the state of Ohio.
I bet.
Yes. And actually across the state of Ohio, there were 300,000 households, equating to roughly 1 million people who do not have access to broadband internet in 2019. Wow. Not too long ago. I mean, kind of long ago, but not too long ago, right?
Yeah.
That's why the DeWine administration launched the Ohio Broadband Strategy, which later created the Ohio Broadband Ohio Office in 2020, which then would later help pass Ohio House Bill 2. And this House Bill created the Ohio Residential Broadband Expansion Program, and this broadband expansion program awarded 11 internet providers with $232 million to expand high-speed internet to 43,000 households in 31 counties. So a huge endeavor on the state of Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Spectrum, as you may know, you've probably heard of that, was one of these grant recipients. And according to Jesse Femer, so far the company has provided broadband internet access to 40 counties across Ohio. And these counties include southeastern and western Ohio counties. As you may know, counties like Highland, Hocking, Perry, Muskingum, Morgan, Coshocton, Clark, Clinton, Meigs, Washington, Fayette, and Greene counties.
It's a big list.
Yeah, it is a big list.
Yeah.
So, you may ask why.
Oh, yes, the floor is mine now. Okay, well, excellent. All right, well, I guess I'll get us kicked off because I'm just curious. What in effect has been done kind of like in the state as far as like this big project has got? Like I think the artwork actually on the front page with this story is like a truck like hanging wires. Like, was there like a lot of infrastructure built for this like that didn't exist before, or like what is sort of the result of like this thing that DeWine has created? Give us kind of like, I guess, an overview. So
I'm glad you brought up the infrastructure part. Because I will say, like I said, Spectrum is one of the internet providers and not just one. But I know when I talk to Spectrum, their literal initiative is called the Rural Construction Initiative. So construction really is a huge part of it. And that's because when I talked to Jesse Femer, he who works for Spectrum, I didn't know if I noted that, but he works for Spectrum. And much of rural America really consists of these like old copper phone systems or old phone systems. So, leading to low speed internet, leaves communities without reliable connection. So what they're having to do is basically build these new fiber distribution and transportation lines, really across everywhere. And this is obviously, as you can imagine, a huge endeavor. But this has honestly been kind of good for the state too. And obviously for many reasons, the internet in itself. But Jesse had mentioned it's creating a lot of jobs in the state of Ohio. I think in 2025, Spectrum employed 6,500 employees, which is a decent amount in just one state. So it really has, like they've been doing a lot of construction. And on top of that, once you build like these new networks in these rural communities and all these distribution lines, then you need people to maintain the system. You need people that locally are available to help you with your internet service needs. So then you're also getting the customer support people, field staff, on top of like construction jobs, right?
Cool.
As to why, low speed internet, that's what I kind of wonder. Like, why do you need high speed internet, right? Yeah. Well, low speed internet can transmit pictures and documents. It can do stuff like that, right? But it can't download large amounts of data or stream services. And in particular, farmers, they use combines and just other like equipment that contains precision technology, which really relies heavily on data, something that only high broadband internet can provide.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this is actually a quote from Jesse Firmer I was going to read on the pod. But traditionally, rural communities have been left behind because they are so far away and hard to reach. It's very expensive and very challenging to run lines out into the rural communities. Into rural communities. So that's really kind of sums up why, this has taken so long to get to there. And fortunately, with the help of the DeWine administration, and other federal funding through the FCC, the Federal Communications.
How nice that the federal government is funding something. That's
I mean, to be fair, this was, I don't know when this grant funding came through.
You don't hear that every day.
But so that is that's happened.
Okay, cool. And I think, can I just ask, because I managed to read your story before we did the pod today. I feel so prepared. I feel like I did the reading, which is like I'm
you did the homework assignment,
Paul. And you had talked to some people that like benefited from this program, right? Is it right to call it a program? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's right to call initiative program. It's basically like a synonym of it, right?
Cool.
I did. So I talked to two businesses. One of them was Janet Butler. She operates Union Stockyards in Hillsboro, Ohio. Cool. I think that's in Highland County. And she is one of these businesses. It's seen a huge difference. So prior to Spectrum, Janet and her husband Bill were having to stream Wi-Fi from their home, which is was a field over, very slow because obviously it was wireless and it was so far away. So that was really difficult. They also had to pay for a separate internet provider for their auction computer. So also a costly expense. You're paying through, exactly. You're paying for two different service providers, just because you don't have access to broadband internet. Another owner I talked to, Rich Stewart, owner of Bee Wild Honey Farm in Leesburg, Ohio, had a similar experience too. He manages hundreds of hives in the area for 15 years. And has went through multiple satellite dishes that were often slow and just, when adverse weather would happen, he'd just wipe it out because it's a satellite dish. This happened multiple times for him. So both now, Spectrum kind of moved into their areas doing this rural construction initiative, and they were both able to receive broadband internet, and they're both really just seeing a ton of improvement.
Nice.
Union Stockyards now has a computer and phone systems that are running smoothly. They don't have any of this slow internet problems. They're also saving money, big benefit. They're only paying for one service provider. And they're able to buy 3 TVs to stream sales and advertisements, really just almost kind of upgrade and modernize their system at the sale barn, which really wasn't possible before with low-speed internet. And Rich is also seeing the benefits too, both personally and professionally. He says, he uses, the internet to, research things about his hives and to connect with local beekeepers. So he's been able to do that more. And also just being able to sit down with family and watch TV. You mentioned there's also a huge benefit being able to do that in a rural setting, right?
Yeah.
So
how nice is this that this investment, I guess, if you will, has also extended to helping the bees? I think that's lovely.
In a way, yeah. You know what, Paul? I didn't even think about that way, and that's beautiful. I totally agree. That, Spectrum helps bees should be the title of the stories.
If we were PR people,
that would be it. You're so right. Yeah.
So, wow, good job. Cool, good work. That's really neat.
Well, if you guys want to learn more, you can go to farmanddairy.com. Yeah. If you want to learn more.
I think you should.
But,
you should already be there. This should be a dual experience where you have the pod, but it's us guiding you through the stories that are hopefully on the website.
You should be able to read the story and listen to us at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. That's the experience.
And if you can do that, let us know because I'll be impressed.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's my turn here to talk to you about some things that I wanted to bring to your attention today, my fellow dear readers and listeners. This is actually a fun thing. So we are bringing back the Fair tab.
Oh, yeah.
One of those ones.
Wait.
The Fair tab. Yeah, thank you. We love our sound effects here.
We do. We love them.
So it is our one of our annual recurring special sections that we release and publish in tandem with the opening of many of our state's illustrious fairs. I don't even think it's just limited to Ohio. I think it's all of them.
Oh, yeah. Pennsylvania has a bunch. Yeah, West Virginia.
We got a whole bunch of them. So this is fair season. So fair season is upon us. And so we are releasing, this is one of our early dives into, or first dives into the earlier fairs. And I got to write a little piece for the Fair tab, which you will find in your paper this week. So picture this. Okay, it's 2024. Oh my goodness, the grass was greener. The Junior Fair Board of rural Ross County, Ohio. Okay, they're getting together and they are ready to do. They have a million things to do as they would expect to during fair season, but they were at a bit of a crossroads at this time a couple of years ago because they had participated in something called the Stock the Trailer program. Fight the Hunger, Stock the Trailer. And this is a program that was started by Farm Credit Mid-America. And they had done this for a couple of years, and they had raised, through their efforts, they had gathered a lot of food and items to donate to local food banks. And I think the way that it works is that at its simplest, like if I'm boiling it down to like what it is, it's just people bringing goods to their county fairs that they can donate to local area food banks to support people in need, which is like really cool. And basically, it's this effort that sort of turns the state fairs for Farm Credit's sake in Ohio and Indiana, which is another state that I guess they serve, into really like almost like an engine of community service, which is kind of neat, honestly. And it was an initiative that Farm Credit started, and they were seeing really cool turnout and like getting a lot of volumes of goods that people really need during this time of year and otherwise. But for Ross County, they had notched some relative success over the last couple of years. The program started in 2021, and they decided that they would maybe walk away in 2024 because they were like, or after 2024, they were like, we don't really know if we want to do it again because it was kind of demanding on like the adults who also had the fair to put on. And so they were kind of like, we don't really have, like, they don't really want to collaborate. We'd have to do it entirely ourselves, and we already have all this other work to do. So, like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
Right. And so the people, it's kind of cool how in Farm Credit, there are employees that kind of also participate and do some heavy lifting and support and stuff for this program. And one of those individuals who is a resident or was a resident, she grew up in Ross County. Her name is Olivia Congrove. And she is a loan officer over there, and she's also a former 4-H and FFA member. FFFA. One of those people. And so she knows and told me firsthand that she knows that Ross County is a place where food insecurity is kind of a major issue. It's been going on for a really long time. And it's especially in recent years, too, as the economy has been pressured for numerous reasons, and it's being felt more and more, the food insecurity by vulnerable people everywhere, not even just in Ross County, but just all over the place. So she did not want to see them walk away from being able to make a further difference and collect some more things that food banks could use to help people. So anyway, it has kind of blown up. And as far as Ross County goes, she was like, I really do not want to see you guys quit. And she gave them like a whole presentation on like what benefits that they would enjoy if they went ahead and did this campaign and like raised and put in all this effort to like get a whole lot of goods for food banks. So for the Stock the Trailer program, youth-led teams will devise creative campaigns, and then they compete to fill these trailers, like big giant trailers, with donations, and then they will try to like steal ahead of all of their competition. And they all of like the food and everything they gather, like they weigh it, so you win like this grand financial prize to be invested back into like youth programming and junior fair board activities and whatnot from Farm Credit Mid-America. If you collect like the most amount of weight, like if all the goods you collect is like, we collected 30,000 pounds of goods, that would probably net you some kind of prize, if not the top one. But
yeah,
yeah.
So is it between like counties or?
Yes,
okay,
between counties. And so yeah, every participating county will get $500 with regional prizes of $5,000 for first place, $3,500 for second place, and $1,500 for third. So that's for like all the the counties that have the most amount by weight.
Yeah. Why would you want to quit? Then you get
and you
get
some cool. Yeah.
So
junior fair and fair board programs is all for it. They've Farm Credit has awarded almost like $436,000 to junior boards and 4-H teams since they've been doing this, which is like really cool. And the initiative overall has collected more than 1.6 million pounds of food since its inception a couple of years ago. and really cool. So with all that in mind, this was kind of the presentation, the spiel that Ross County got. They were like, okay, well, maybe we'll do it one more time. We'll do it one more year. And for 2025, they were like, let's just set the bar ridiculously high. And it was like, okay. And so they said that they were going to raise 100,000 pounds of goods. And then it's like, okay. And Miss Congrove was like, sounds a little crazy, but you know what? Set your aim high, and wherever what's the saying? Where like you shoot for the moon and like maybe you'll just land on a star. Something like that. Yes. It's like literally like that, right?
Yeah.
So Fair Board members got to work considering what had worked for them in the past, and then they kind of built on that success and aimed, big. So they early on, they started reaching out to like really big retailers, Sam's Club, Rural King, Walmart, like right away. Like they hit the ground running, I think like in January of 2025. And they were trying to line up sponsors to get them donations, like money or like goods, like anything that they could collect. They used local business support to buy items like bottled water, which apparently food banks struggle to obtain. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Surprising.
Right.
I guess that makes sense though, because when I think of like donating to a food bank, my first thought never is like water. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get like a can of beans and like canned food.
Right. So I didn't know that. I was like, wow. They hit the ground running. Like I said, they ultimately took in a record-breaking haul totaling 122,640 pounds of goods, which is the most donations statewide. That's applause worthy, honestly.
And that's why you aim high.
Yeah. So that was Ross County's experience. And they were primarily, I think, the focus of my article, just the people that sort of worked with those junior Fair Board members, many of whom I guess have gone on to graduate and are going to hopefully go change the world and like bring light and goodness and joy back into our very dismaying current times, modern times, whatever. But yeah, they did this amazing thing. Also in the article, I talked to the executive director of the food bank, where they received like 100,000 pounds of water. That was like, I think they're primarily their biggest haul that they were able to secure, and that alone went to support like other churches in the area. That this wasn't a church, this is the Good Samaritan food pantry, but churches in the area will also do like outreach for goods and stuff, and so they were able to get the water and just disseminate it as far as possible, as well as like the fire department and the local school system, which got like all of this water so they can like give water to thirsty children during the day. So like it did all this like good, like it went really, really far and wide, and was able to support like all of these people. And in addition to like the other like almost 20,000 plus pounds of other goods, of like the canned goods and anything else that they had managed to collect. And it was just like a really, really cool endeavor that they all went on.
That's awesome. So are there plans for like this year moving forward, or
I asked because I was like, are they gonna just like go for 150,000 pounds or something like that? But the key word is that a lot of them had actually graduated, and so there's kind of like a turnover of like the leadership in the junior Fair Board. So they are now aiming, from what I was told, to be able to. They're taking their cue from the food banks themselves, and they're like, what do you need? Like instead of us, like we kind of went on like. We sort of knew what we were doing a little bit based on what you had told us, but now they're like working directly with the food banks to come up with a list of like, here are the items that are most needed, and they're trying to get all of those items in order to meet the needs of the people that use these food pantries, food banks, that kind of thing, so that they're not just like shooting in the dark. And they're also not, I guess, approaching it this year as terms of like, we need to like get the most weight, like all of the items. I don't think they're aiming for first place, but they just want to do the most good anyway, especially with their resounding success last year. So I think that's pretty respectable. It's like, oh, very nice.
Yeah, sometimes it's not like you don't want to repeat, like try to keep upping and upping. Sometimes it's just great to recognize it, like that was a really great year.
Yeah,
and like let's continue doing good work.
Yeah.
So well, I guess I have a question for you. What stands out to you as maybe the most inspiring aspect of the story? I know for me, when I was listening to it, I mean, it just sounds like these are really young people doing just incredible things. For me, their age and like having that drive at such a young age is incredible. But what to you when you wrote the story? So what did you find inspiring?
I think I kind of had an idea of like when I first started like calling people and talking about it, like people were really, I guess just so grateful that they like set out on this task and then like took it to the farthest lengths that they could and like did all this groundwork. I think it really speaks to the power of like partnerships, like, and these, the phone calls that they were making just to like get people on board and like telling them what their goal was and the way that they maybe had never done that kind of work in their lives before. Like they just like really just worked the ground and did like a real grassroots approach to get all of these goods that they could, and it really, really, amounted to a tremendous success, which is like really cool. But I also think that it's inspiring to like, I don't know, this is a job where like you don't always get to report on like good news and like things like that people do that are like good for, like, it's really cool to hear about like broadband making a difference, a measurable, meaningful difference in people's lives. And this is kind of another example of like a measurable, meaningful difference that, and in this case, it was a group of young people that were aided by these adults, of course, that they had in their corner who were helping them do this work. But they really led the charge. And talk about like, just the director of this food bank was like aghast. He was like, I can't believe like how I'm just so proud of them. And when you really think about it too, like they set such a cool example, right? For so many people to follow.
Yeah.
And I just think all of that really, really puts the wind under my wings, so to speak. Yeah. So kudos to all of them and their efforts, most definitely.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Pulling it off.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
oh, no.
I do. We are going to say we have to send it off on a depressing note, of course.
On a misfortunate note.
Yeah, on a misfortunate note. The front of our auction cover this week is the Penn State University's 2025 Pennsylvania Farm Fatality Report, which found that 19 people died last year due to farm-related accidents in the state.
It's a dangerous profession.
It really is. So background before I get into the facts, the Penn State Agricultural Safety and Health Program releases the Pennsylvania Farm Fatality Injury Summary each year. And researchers and extension educators use the data to identify hazards in agricultural production and guide the development of training and resources. So researchers, just before we begin, note that it is possible that not all farm-related fatalities may have been recorded, especially as rural newspapers disappear, which I thought was just kind of an interesting little note that they mentioned. I wouldn't have thought, obviously rural newspapers, like including ours, report on these fatalities. So without them, you might be missing some. Yeah. Anyway, so according to researchers, fatality numbers last year were similar to 2024. The victims in 2025 were from 14 counties across the state, and 3 counties reported more than one death, which were Lancaster, Butler, and Franklin counties. Lancaster, as most people know, is, very known for its agriculture.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you some questions, Paul, see if you can guess the right answers.
Oh, okay.
What percentage do you think were male deaths?
I would say it's probably higher. I would say maybe like 80%.
Did you read this?
No, I didn't.
Yes, that's correct.
Is it really?
80%. Wow.
Wow.
Wow, that was wild.
Oh my God.
Yes, you're correct.
Wow.
So over a third of the victims were between the ages of 45 and 64, while over a quarter were 65 and older.
What am I cheering for? This is not good.
Yeah, I know. It's not good, but I'm just like shocked that you got that right. In 2025, 79% of the victims actively were working at the time when they died. And then I have another one for you. Can you guess what was the most common cause of death?
Ooh. This one I probably will not succeed. Does it involve tractors? I feel like tractors are really scary and dangerous.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Oh. Almost half of the fatalities were from off-road industrial vehicles, so basically equipment.
Kind of. Yeah, equipment.
And this included tractor rollovers, other tractor incidents. So very spot on, Paul, as you reported on some of these incidents. Skid steer rollovers, being stuck by skid steers or forklifts, and all-terrain vehicle crashes. Tractor tractor overturn fatalities most often happen when tractors do not have a rollover protection structure or OPS, which according to Penn State.
Okay.
So the second most cause of death, cause of accidents were compression or contact with equipment, objects, or buildings. Over 1/3 of that counted for over 1/3, which included being stuck, crushed, or trapped by a piece of machinery, silo collapse, and tree limb falls. Yeah, it's pretty sad. And then 3 fatalities were due to a horse kick.
Oh, okay.
Which is what I was laughing about earlier because, Paul notoriously is not a big fan of horses.
I don't trust them.
Yeah, I can't imagine, though, like, dying of a horse kick. That sounds, wow. I could imagine it hurts. So 3 fatalities were due to a horse kick, silo gas, and a roadway collision with a tractor. So, and like I said earlier, researchers recognize this may not include all of the fatalities last year, so they encourage people to reach out if they do not see someone that they know, if someone that they know that died was not listed. Additionally, the Penn State Agricultural Safety and Health Program is offering a farm safety walkthrough this year. And for more information on that, you can visit the front of auction this week or go to farmandairy.com, which I think it may be on our website. And if it's not, it's at Penn State website. So, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. I had a vision when you were discussing this article about like specifically like a tractor rollover, which I have reported on myself, but at times, and those stories are really harrowing because like always the worst and just devastating. And like I don't know, like I've been to like the different like a couple of different like safety demonstrations where like for example like in grain silos, like if a person gets stuck in there, it was actually a scene that they depicted in the first Quiet Place movie.
Yeah,
the children fell in the grain silo while the creatures were hunting them, and they were like then at risk of drowning in the grain silo, which a lot of people do not understand that how dangerous and risky that is. That like the way that it's very easy to expire in a place like that. But like with a rollover thing, I'm sorry, let me go back up for a second. So one of the things that they've done in like a grain silo is to basically, I don't exactly remember it, but it was like a thing that they devised that would allow someone to climb on top of like a kind of thing that they can be extracted from, instead of just like, you can save a person basically from drowning in the grain. And I've written about it in the past, so I'm kicking myself that I don't like have like a more like a bit more reliable recall to remember this article. But did you get any sense from like, I don't know, like reading this or thinking about the story that like that there's anything being done? Like, can you imagine like if there was like a balloon or something that could like if a tractor sensed that it was tipping over, to maybe just like stop it from hitting the ground so hard, or I don't know, slow the fall or something like that.
That's
like,
a good question.
I'm wondering if like anyone is inventing things like that, or if it would make any difference. Like the vision that I have in my brain is like cartoonish. Like it's just like a, like an airbag almost.
I mean, it's hard though, because like if you think about a vehicle, we haven't invented anything for like if I'm driving my car and like I'm driving maybe along an edge and it tips over. Like there's nothing that prevents me from dying from that.
Right. But that's at higher speeds. Like that would be like at a speed. And a tractor's going like significantly. But still, I mean, oh my God, I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something really cool to invent. It would be interesting. I mean, that's something we'd definitely have to look into.
Get your Shark Tank. Anyone applying for Shark Tank.
Yeah, come up with something. Yeah, because that does seem like obviously it is like it is reported that is the most. And honestly, going into this, I kind of figured it was going to be equipment related. The most often fatalities, just because you're operating around a lot of heavy equipment.
Yeah, right.
And just in our reporting, majority of the stuff that we've wrote about has been equipment related deaths or silo deaths.
Yeah. All of which are brutal.
All of which, I mean, God, drowning and Anyways, I don't know why we ended on this depressing note. Anyways, everybody be safe out there.
Yeah.
We don't want to write about you. In that way, we want to write about all your successes and not
my goodness,
that. So please be safe.
Yeah.
And that's actually it for our podcast this week. Hopefully you like this abbreviated version. If this is abbreviated,
no,
it's not abbreviated, but it's like kind of abbreviated. So
It's a different format.
A different format. So, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you.
You can find all the news at farmandairy.com, or you can find a local newsstand and pick up a print paper for yourself.
Which you should, because then you wouldn't need to look for anything on the internet. Just pick up a print paper.
Exactly. Yeah. And thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.